Richician!
Hey YouTube, Richician84 here, and welcome to a top 5 video. In this one I am counting down the top 5 love-hate cards in pass format duels. Mainly Perfect Circle and Edison. Now I did do this video before, but that was more generalised cards. I'm talking about cards specifically for pass format games. Now, just to be clear, these are not cards that I hate with a passion. They're just cards that I like using myself, or don't mind using myself, but absolutely hate when they're used against me. It's just really infuriating when they're used against me. In fact, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. It's only fun when I use them. Yeah, they've caused some pretty infuriating problems in games, even though although those games were still fun for what they are. But yeah, let's just get into it. Number 5 is a card that was actually on the original list, Mirror Force. My second favourite trap of all time, a card I absolutely love using myself, but yeah, it's just so infuriating when it's used against me. Just attacking with a couple of monsters and then losing my field just like that. Unless, of course, I do still have something in defence, of course, but yeah, it's very infuriating when that happens. Just really sets me back. Yeah, especially after getting out a boss monster that I put effort into getting out. Of course, I don't always walk into it. There will be times where I suspect that the opponent might have a Mirror Force, and if I feel like I'm in a position where running into one would really backfire and cost me the game, I just simply won't attack until I draw some back row removal. With that being said, it's not that risky running into it early game, because as long as I still have plenty of life points, I can still survive and take any hits. Yeah, very annoying when running into it. Speaking of back row removal, this brings me to number 4, Heavy Storm. A card that I swear Mr. Matt and Alison Welch just always seems to have. I swear, every time I set 2 or 3 cards on my back row, he always has Heavy Storm, and just plays it right away, and it's like, for fuck's sake, really? Yeah, it's just annoying losing, like, my traps. Now some might say it's overextending, but not really. I mean, if it was 4 or 5, then maybe it would be, especially if there's no protection, but all the same, it's enough to just annoy anyone, really. That's why in more recent duels, like starting from the late stages of the September 2007 tournament we did, I've tried to be more careful about how much back row I set. Because it occurred to me I should set like maybe 1 or 2 and keep some in hand, because obviously these retro formats are slower formats. I mean, they're not likely to summon multiple monsters turn one. The only time that would probably happen is if it was like some kind of ritual or fusion deck. Oh, but then again, there is the fact that Cyber Dragon is a commonly played card, like ranging from after Goat to before Synchro era. So, I mean, that can be a worry, to be fair. But then again, not every deck is going to run a Cyber Dragon. Well, maybe most decks. But either way, it's just infuriating. I mean, I'm so glad that we don't have this in today's game. That being said, I feel like past format and current format games have the opposite issues, whereas past format games just past format rather just doesn't have enough back row removal, whereas today's game just has way too much of it. I mean, if Heavy Storm came back in current format, I would not be happy about that. I mean, traps would be practically dead, or really would be. It's like, is there any point playing back row anymore? Then again, it wouldn't be an issue for my format, because I'd still just keep it banned. Anyway, that's that. Number 3, brain control. Fucking pre-rolls of brain control. Yeah, obviously a really infuriating card late game, and it's just so sacky. Yeah, it's enough to piss anyone off when the opponent top decks brain control, takes like their biggest monster, and then attacks for game. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, and paying 800 is literally nothing to give up. Not to mention, I find it really insulting and annoying when people steal my Dark Magician with it, especially if they intend to attack the game. Of course, that being said, at that point I'd just scoop it up and say, no, fuck you, I'm not giving you the satisfaction. No one uses my Dark Magician against me. Of course, at least if that happens early to mid-game, it's not so bad, because I don't get gamed, whether it's Dark Magician being taken or not. But yeah, it's just cheeky using it to take the opponent's monster and then tribute it for a tribute summon. That being said, I have noticed something with some games, like from older formats. Why the hell do people take a really big monster and then immediately tribute it off for something else, like a monarch or Jinzo, perhaps? Well, alright, I know monarchs yeah, can do some really good stuff when tribute summoned, but other than that, just why would you sacrifice a stronger monster for a weaker one? Wouldn't it make more sense to just attack with the big monster and then tribute it off in main phase 2? Yeah, brain control's just so annoying when used against me. Then again, lots of people got annoyed by it and were just glad that it got banned on the September 2010 list. And thankfully it doesn't see play anymore because of its errata. I mean, like I said, I don't hate brain control. I'll still use it myself, but yeah, like I said, it's so fucking annoying when used against me, especially late game. It's just way too sacky of a card. I mean, not as sacky though as Change of Heart and Snatch Steal. I mean, I don't know what Konami were thinking unbanning them. Like, it's so dumb. Now, with the top two, I was struggling to figure out which one should be number one and which one should be number two. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah, some tea just spilled on the side. Anyway, number two is Marshmallow, a card that I actually used to hate, but now not so much anymore. I just like using it myself, especially in my Yugi character deck, but really, really hate it when it's used against me. Yeah, seriously, running into this thing is so fucking annoying. Because now it's just stopping me from getting to the opponent's life points, and I'm taking burn damage just like that. But it's even worse when this actually wipes out your life points, and this has happened to me like a couple of times in the past. I mean, it's such a cheap, dirty way to win. Alright, that being said, I guess I would do that if I really had to, but I generally prefer not to win with Marshmallow's effect. I mean, honestly, I only use it in my Yugi deck as tribute fodder and Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning fodder. That's it. I don't even use it in anything else. Although I did use it in my Sky Scourge Karibo deck and my March 2008 Dark Magician deck, but I think that was it. But yeah, this card is just the bane of my existence in September '07 duels. Because, yeah, Matt and Alison Welch just seems to have it in absolutely every deck he has. Well, not so much Elemental Heroes, but yeah, I swear, every time he has a face-down monster, it's always Marshmallow. Like, I just can't catch a break. Ever. I mean, sometimes I'll suspect it's a Marshmallow, and, well, sometimes I'll just attack anyway, sometimes I'll just suspect that it is, and just won't attack it. Like, especially if I'm, like, on really low life points, like 1,000 or less. I mean, that's even more dangerous, because I know if I attack into it, then I just auto lose. So I have to find ways to try and play around it. Like Old Vindictive Magician, for instance, or Torrential Tribute. But yeah, I mean, that's all there is to say about it, really. And finally, in at number one, the card that I absolutely hate the most being used against me in retro formats is Compulsory Evacuation Device. I mean, it's great when I'm using it, but when it's being used against me, fuck this card. Seriously, this is another of those traps that either Matt and Alison Welch or even Gungner just always seems to have, well, mainly Matt and Alison Welch, because this just always comes up. Every time I get a good monster onto the field, it always gets bounced immediately, whether it's Dark Magician or one of my fusions, especially Rainbow Neos. I mean, it's not so bad if Dark Magician gets bounced, because at least I have ways to summon him quite easily, but on a fusion, it just annoys me so much when it gets used on a fusion. Because it's like, come on, I worked so hard to get this monster out, and then it just goes back to the extra deck, just like that. It's so fucking annoying. And before someone says, oh, you do know you can call priority, right? Yes, I know I can call priority on things like Rainbow Neos, Thunder Giant or Plasma Vice, but the thing is, we prefer not to use priority. I mean, it's just, priority is just toxic and confusing and just a load of bullshit. I mean, for instance, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that Judgment Dragon can still pay £1,000 and bomb the field, even though it's about to leave the field by the likes of Torrential or Bottomless. You know, that shouldn't happen. But yeah, thankfully Konami got rid of it in 2012, but yeah, for these retro formats, we did make a gentleman's agreement to not use priority. I mean, because we prefer things to go in a simplified flow and simplified game state. Does it potentially leave us at a disadvantage? Yeah, it does, but let's be honest, priority should never have been a thing. But yeah, going back to Compulse, I mean, this fucker just ruins comeback plays in the same way that Bottomless and Summon Negation cards do. Yeah, I get out a big fusion as I'm about to make a comeback, and then this gets used and then just goes back to the extra deck, and then there's just this overwhelming loss of hope of just winning the duel. At least that's the case late game. In fact, I've actually been thinking that maybe we should make a gentleman's agreement to just not use Compulse, but at the same time I don't know if I really want to do that, because I just feel bad, and there are those, including Matt and Alison Welch, that prefer to use Compulse over Sakuratsu Armour, because it's more chainable and can be used at any time, even if it's about to be blown off the field by the likes of Heavy Storm and MST, whereas if Sakuratsu Armour gets popped just like that, that's it, it's gone, can't use it. So yeah, I understand the personal preference and the need to have this in a retro deck, so yeah, I just don't know if there's a workaround. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and that's going to do it for this list. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know in the comments if there's any love-hate cards that you guys have in past format games. I'd be interested to see them, and yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Dark Richician YouTube channel.